10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Vici Gaming's turn to ban.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here for game number 1 of this best of 3 series between Vici Gaming and Invictus Gaming. It is MLP Dota and John Expired. John, you know, how rude of me. I didn't ask you how you were feeling before, so how are you?
I'm doing great. It's a lovely day, a great weekend, and of course it's always a good time for some more Dota 2. VG up against IG should be a fairly close match. Both teams have had their ups and downs. VG has had a bit more of a steady run, a much more stable sort of run. IG has had up and downs, but not too far apart. 5-2 for VG and 4-3 for IG in terms of Series 1. So it is going to be a bit of a closer matchup than the ones we've seen in the past few days. One thing from IG that I want to see them do this time around, especially in comparison to yesterday, is to avoid the Terra Blade. I think it really doesn't play into their playstyle, and it's not banned out from both sides just yet, but I would dare say that if IG picks it up, I would just be severely disappointed.
On the brighter side, John, they ban out the Death Prophet themselves, so they're trying to stop themselves from going down that route of long cooldown heroes that just don't work right now. Still, there's a couple more bans to come out. I also hope we don't have to see the Terra Blade today, John. It just doesn't work. There's seemingly such better carries in the pool that you can go to. We'll see what IG and Vici get up to. And of course, those who haven't been watching very often, I would dare say Vici is probably looking to be the favorites in this matchup. They've been looking pretty darn good, Vici.
Yeah.
Darn good. They're coming second right now, only to eHome. And eHome is really on one of those hot runs that they tend to get on, where they're undefeated throughout the groups, which we see every couple tournaments. eHome does this. They just go on this wild run of undefeated streaks, and then they just kind of maybe go back to being average, and then a couple tournaments later we'll be back to the best team in China. But now Vici Gaming anyway is second. Definitely looking to be the favorites in this matchup up against IG, and I'm curious to see what IG do against John. Do you have any stats as to how these two teams have gone in the past?
Yeah, the past year has been not too good for IG up against VG. There is an edge there for VG. IG's only won 33% to like 70% going the way of VG. That's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 series. So VG has won 4 series, IG has only won 2 in the past year. Even historically, VG is kind of favored, so that's considering different lineups, of course, but VG does seem to have IG's number. And, you know, in a region as tightly knit as China, sometimes you really just do get someone's number from playing them so often, and the other side just takes a while to adapt. And hopefully enough IG does adapt here. Do see some pretty solid ban outs from both sides. I like the early Mars ban out from VG. A lot of teams do fall into that. It's very easy to combine with something like the Phoenix or the Snap, so you're not going to have that option now for either side. And the opening for VG, of course, is not too strange. Keeper for Light first. It's a solid support to have, great laning presence, great team fight presence with Will-O-Wisp. We do tend to see it in combination with something like the Ember Spirit. So if IG doesn't pick that up in this first phase, which, you know, most teams don't tend to when they have second pick, unless they have a very specific combination, I wouldn't be too surprised if VG picked it up themselves.
Well, they've got Grimstroke Ember right now if they want it. I think that's probably the best opening duo you could ask for from IG.
Yeah,
The Ember,
there you go.
they take it, but are they going to have the Grimstroke with it? They just leave the Grimstroke alone. Or take the Shadow Demon. Okay. I don't mind it.
It's not the most straightforward combination for the Ember. I dare say there's no real synergy there, but these are still two solid heroes. You take away the Ember Keeper of the Light combination here as well, so Vici's not going to be able to pick that up. They could respond with something like the Void Spirit. That's what we tend to see when the Ember Spirit's not available. They just jump into the Void Spirit in this phase when they know the Ember's out there. That is an option for Vici if they wanted to still place nicely with Keeper of the Light. The one thing I like about IG's draft is that you do have a lot of potency in the lane from the Shadow Demon. Of course, we just saw Cock play it actually really well, of course. So it's just a really solid hero to have. Vici does go against the grain though. Like the Tiny does come out. It's a hero that we don't see as often as we once did. And it's still a solid sort of support. It's a solid hero to have. Still strong in terms of the repositioning it can give and the burst damage. But I guess it does play nicely with Keeper of the Light. Like, you get the Will-O-Wisp off, it's very easy to land all your spells.
Well, I like where Invictus Gaming has gone, John. Shadow Demon Mirana, we know this combination very, very well. We've seen it many, many times. I like the fact that they're drafting something very different. Mirana has been very potent in the current meta as well. We haven't really seen it much in the pro scene, but it has been going very, very well, at least in the pub scene. So I think it is making a comeback slowly. Speaking of comebacks though, the Tiny from Vici Gaming is another hero that kind of disappeared for a while. It's been maybe half a year now, maybe more than that, where it hasn't been very popular. It does seem like it's also making a bit of a comeback. I'm not gonna lie, and I've been seeing it a lot. It does seem pretty darn good. You are still going the standard magic build, and in fact most people have been running core Tiny these days, believe it or not. We'll see what Vici Gaming intend to do, as they do go ahead and pick up a Monkey King now.
Yeah, it's looking solid for Vici in terms of the team fight they can pull out. With a Keeper of the Light to set you up, you've got Monkey King and Tiny to follow up. It is pretty darn potent. Of course, the one thing with a Monkey King here is that you will have to watch out, in particular for the Shadow Demon. Like, he can really hurt you, especially with his magic damage. Even Mirana, of course, can do that, but Monkey King under Wukong Command relies on that added bulk, and you don't really have that up against these heroes. So that's something for Vici to be conscious about. One thing IG has as well is you have the Shadow Demon Mirana now. Now, we have seen a lot of the Mirana without that setup, and it's still highly effective. When you do have that setup for yourselves, you can see a lot more activity for this duo. So the potency is most certainly there for IG. They can just choose to be a lot more active with the ganks, and they do have a relatively easy setup for that Shadow Demon in case they want to get that done.
Well, this is the kind of IG I'm used to watching, John. But they don't drag out the game. They don't try and play the slow-paced farm game. They just kind of get active. These three heroes already say they're ready to do that up against a team like Vici Gaming, which, quite frankly, I think they need to do. Especially because Vici Gaming is going for one of those early game orientated drafts with the Tiny Keeper of the Light. And we've just seen IG lose over and over again with those particular drafts where they run those Terrorblades, run those DPs. You know, we're just kind of, I want to see IG more competitive throughout this league. And well, this fourth pick will explain a little bit more. They are looking for their, I believe they're safe laner right now. They do tend to leave JT's pick to a last, so we'll probably see the offlane pick last from JT, unless he is going to play the flexible Ember Spirit, which I believe we saw yesterday from JT, but it wasn't great. Oh, IG. That kind of comes up.
It's not the most common core. We have seen it like a couple of times here and there. It's still a very safe core to go for. Like, you have great lane sustain, you have great damage coming out. In conjunction with Shadow Demon, you've got really easy setup to get your spin on top of someone from the laning phase. So that early aggression is still there. The Jug does scale nicely as well, and you do have ways of dancing around the team fight of VG if you play it right. They're going to have to be really quick with their initiation on the Jug because he does have natural magic immunity. The response in the Legion Commander still plays into VG's strength. You're not seeing something like the Dazzle or the Oracle to really maximize the LT. At the same time, you're not seeing any option for IG to go into the Tusk. You do have to worry about the Shadow Demon. The disruption will ruin a lot of those duels unless you catch Shadow Demon out first. So that's something VG has to be really aware of. If they want to get those early duels off, they've got to either know the Shadow Demon's not in the lane or duel the Shadow Demon itself. Otherwise, it's a fairly explosive draft from both sides. IG is starting to fill out the holds, but VG is still looking stronger in terms of raw team fight. They've got bigger AoE control, but VG is much more bricky, especially with the Shadow Demon Rana. Even the Jog with the Omni Slash, of course, can just lay it on to one hero really fast.
I gotta say that I do love the LC pick from VG game. I think it's just fantastic. You were lacking that lockdown from Ember. You were lacking that kind of lockdown for the Spin Jug, the Mirana. The three heroes that can be so mobile, but now they've always gonna be worried about this LC. I just love seeing it. I think it was a perfect pick from VG Gaming. Not to mention LC doesn't care for Juggernaut, right? Like in the laning stage, when you're going up against this Jug, you don't care for the spin. It doesn't mean anything to you. You just press the attack and run away. It's pretty nice, John. I do like it. I think IG with this Juggernaut, the one thing that concerns me a lot about the Jug, John, the Omni Slash cooldown is so long, and it kind of feels like the hero is a little useless without it. Would you agree with me on that? Like, it just feels like the Omni Slash happens, and then he has to chill out somewhere for a while.
Yeah, you really can't stand up and just fight straight away without that Omni. It's much more painful the early game. I think mid-game, it's a weird compromise. Like when you have level 2 Omni Slash, that's what you still focus on it, but you can fight outside of it. And then you get to late game and you want the Ags to have the mini slash as well, just to have that invulnerability. So it's a strange set of power spikes for Jug, but it's something you can play around. Early game, you will have to time yourself. It kind of fits into the farming pattern you've seen across most Pop 1 players anyway. The tendency is, unless they're in a fast hero like a DK, they're going to be playing that farm game, and we do have our closers on the drafts. VG going with Storm, not the best of ways here from IG to keep that flank. They'd have to get the Shadow Demon Mirana on top consistently, or have always land those chains, which aren't reliable. So you're going to be looking at using up your two big lockdown salts for the Shadow Demon Mirana to keep that in place. JT with the Necros can just side up, and I love that response to what they're bringing here. You also have Grit Sustain. The magic damage is kind of middling. You will have to be cautious about the Tiny. Tiny can punish the Necros hard, in that sense that if you Ghost form, Tiny will just burst you. So those are the things that IG has to worry about. Overall, VG is still looking a bit better here. Like, they have the stronger team fight. They don't require as much farm on the Monkey King as you would find on Fly. It is kind of break even with JT and Yang, depending on how Yang farms up. Like, if he has great lane, we have seen some Necrophos rush the Ravens. I don't think you want to do that here. You need to look for maybe a fast mech or whatever you want. Just you have to be active to get that Jug some space.
Yeah, you definitely will be. I have to agree with you. Like, Vici Gaming, their draft just looks overall better. I mean, that Necrophos into the Tiny pick. Like, I realize it's a pos for Tiny, but Avalanche Toss when your Ghost form does so much damage. It's really gonna hurt this JT Necrophos. See how he does play it out though. It's gonna be very interesting. We don't get to see these style of lineups in terms of draft we haven't seen this for a while. It's been ages, it feels like, since I've seen Tiny Necrophos and even Jug. Even Mirana and Shadow Demon. It's been a bit of time.
Yeah.
Went into a game number 1 of this best of 3 series.
It's gonna be rather... I think it's really down to IG probably trying to buy that early game base. Like, VG may come online faster, but you do have real strong potency. It really depends on how you run this dual support with Kaka and Ollie. Are you going to go hunting with the Disruption Arrow, or are you just going to play it safe and soak the lanes? it's really down to that. If IG plays aggressively, they can certainly shut down a couple of key heroes. Like, they could give Eurus a hard time down mid if they decide to just keep those rotations, although lots of heroes down bot.
Yeah, there is. They'll see JT, PYW has the toss, and this is going to be bad for JT. Get to the outpost. The outpost is currently bait. Kaka is still taking the outpost. He will get it, but at the cost of JT.
30 seconds to battle.
Alright, I guess you just got to take it anyway. Like, it's not like you could really save the Necrophos. They are going to get first blood on the side of Vici Gaming, and it did go to DY at least on the calls, so I guess all the goals went on a +5 call in the end. DY though, he's looking for another target. He's got Toss, tosses back to Marana. Kaka does not want to go for level 1 lead, but has no choice. And he died anyway. DY, he really wants this. If he goes for Blinding Light right now, he may have enough damage, and he doesn't actually get in range to use it. And so ultimately, I think you're still pretty satisfied. You got first blood, you force out level 1 leap. That's gonna make this Marana useless till level 2.
Yeah, you're not going to be seeing any laning presence from Cocker, really. He could let off some auto attacks and run away, but it's not the most effective use of your time. You're also out of regen on Cocker. He's down to just 1 tank, so that's going to stall a lot of issues on this bot lane, and it's just going to hurt.
Toss, DY. Maybe appreciates it, maybe doesn't. Kaka, you are being very risky with this, sir. He's trying to juggle around with DY. Does get the sub out, and now DY's in trouble. PYW will not give up. He has another toss in 4 seconds. Still, DY should die here. There's 2 Shadow Poison stacks. No, I thought Kaka hit him one more time. He did not, and there will be a staff coming out from that Keeper of the Light, DY. And it seems as though, John, both teams have decided they're going to run Tri-Lane up against Tri-Lane at this bot lane now. In fact, no.
Yeah.
It's going to be a TP out from Ori. Ori's going to be up top, and Yang's going to go down bot. And that means we have a mid-Eurus.
Yeah, we didn't mention that. It is the mid Monkey King, which isn't strange. The stranger thing is that Ori is on a side lane Storm, which he doesn't really need it when it's a mid lane Ember Spirit. Like, you are not worried about that Ember. Like, yeah, Eurus will win out, but even the Storm can kind of draw even or win out as well, depending on how you play. So this prioritization of lanes from VG just a tad bit strained.
The chains can be fairly dangerous, though. Maybe they just want an absolute, dominant mid victory, and like Eurus should be able to provide that fairly easy. Bot lane, Parker ends up dying again to PYW. Now Yang is running straight towards JT. He just doesn't care. And interestingly enough, they are going to bring Kaka to the top lane now, so they give up on the tri lane. Meanwhile, Eurus, however, does die to Emo. Oh boy. That's bad news.
It's, I don't know, like this lane swap to me is just super strange. You look at it, yeah, Eurus is finding last hits, and to be fair, Ori is actually not heavily contested at all. Like, Fly is not having a great time. He's already had to waste time going back and forth, so VG is still winning out in the lanes despite the strangeness. But
PYW on the roaming Tommy again, gonna find another kill. He's making it look like this hero's a meta. He's just doing so much work across the map, PYW.
I think they just understand that for IG's support duo, when you split them up, they really don't do anything. You need the Marana and the Shadow Team together because they're basically have lane presence. Like, what's a Necrophos going to do with either of his supports without the other one?
Well, that mid-rotation from PYW, forcing Ollie to come in mid lane as well, and forcing Emo to go that level 1 chains. Well, not level 1 chains, but just go for the first level in chains. Just to be able to break that gap and not allow the Tiny to make his way in for a task. So, now going to make the jump now to Eurus. Eurus going to have 2 Shadow Poison stacks, but that'll be it. They'll force rotation now from the Keeper of the Light, and that'll be cancelled off as well. DY doesn't want to go to the mid lane. They are really focusing on ensuring that Eurus does not have a good time, though.
Yeah, I think one of the things is that the Monkey King is a heavy tempo setter. wants to leave that laning phase, maybe have a fast Echo Saber, it can be really menacing, especially with how VG is playing this super aggressive sort of lineup. So it is going to be key to temper that timing from Eurus, and there has been a lot of emphasis from that from IG. This is costing them their sidelines, so like JT on Necrophos isn't having a great time up against Yang. Yang is most certainly winning out in that 1v1 bot lane.
Yeah, Yang just rushing him every time. Every single time that Necrophos comes close, Yang just goes straight forward onto JT. Now DY is here. They're actually going to try and make a bit more of a play here into JT as PYW. He's going to rotate it as well, and JT should just definitely be dead. Yang will take the kill on the LC. And yeah, this is getting from bad to worse for RG already. You talked about the side lane suffering, but not only are they suffering, John, Eurus is still perfectly fine. He's top of the last hits board right now on the Monkey King.
Yeah, Vici basically got all the lanes they wanted. Even Ori on the off lane, Storm has 26 last hits. Fly, in comparison, only has 22. So it's all lining up for VG, and we haven't seen the fast aggression from IG. Like, they are forced to split the Mirana and the Shadow Demon apart. So you're not going to get those guaranteed stuns and controls. A Mirana juggling just doesn't do much unless you land the arrow, and that's just super hard against the Storm.
That'll take the wind from their sails.
I'm shocked that nobody's come up to actually help Fly out. I really am. Like, Fly is being jumped right now. He does have spin, so he's going to turn around into Ori, and that's actually a lot of damage. But again, like, once the spin's done, commit healing ward, sure. But well, be careful with that ward. Fly getting a bit crazy there. Meanwhile, Ball rotations coming from the F now. They're trying to make a plan to Yang. He has Dick Charge. He's fairly tanky right now. With those overwarming off as well, he's just going to be able to run, but let's fall from Emo. He does secure the kill. It's not rotation from Emo. I really think he had no other choice, right? Because he's suffering so much in the mid lane of the He kind of has to find gold elsewhere.
Yeah, it relieves some of the pressure that JT's facing as well, so that gives him a little bit of time where the LC's not here, and it's only the supports. Even then, PYW still has amazing damage output. DY shoves back, lane will illuminate, so you don't really have that much free time, and Yang just TP's back in. With the moment this LC hits 6, you have to really keep the Shadow Demon around the LC. You don't want that dual win to start racking up for Yang.
No.
Over here now.
Yang is just going to focus on getting that 6 up now. Interestingly enough, Yang as well doesn't go for the phase boots build, but rather goes for the trap, which isn't something you see quite as often on LCs these days. They do generally opt for phase boots, but Yang, I don't blame him for that though. Like, if you want to go for a bit more of a farming build on the LC, the treads are definitely the way to go.
Yeah, and it really plays into helping him juggle his sand pool as well, so he has a little bit more sustainability with his Falcon Vest.
Dropping solo again, he won't leap, won't need it. We'll salve up, we'll be fine.
Dire's middle tower.
I'm gonna be so scared about Tiny John. Like, he's only level 3, but the damage he's doing with that electric toss is kind of insane. And as time goes on, damage is only going to get higher and higher.
Dire are scanning.
I haven't even given him a lane to soak yet.
Scanning.
Yeah, that's it. VG's just been super disciplined about getting your course up and running first. It's still fairly early in the game, but we are still at 8 minutes in. No.
JT, do you bother going for the duel? No, he's too high up in HP right now. Too close to that T1 tower as well. You'd love to, though, PYW's there, because you get so much burst damage. Mid lane, DY does end up falling to Emo. Just getting caught out by the and Kaka on the Mirana. Very easy kill for the side of IG. It's a much needed goal for Emo. In fact, if you look at that net worth, and Emo isn't so far behind anymore. He's actually only about 10 gold behind. They're going to try to cleanse Eurus, but a nice arrow coming in from Kaka. Stopping the boundless strike, which would have essentially healed him up all the way. Great timing from that Mirana.
Yeah, just catching out the Monkey King. They didn't quite have vision to stop the activations. It's something he has kind of fallen behind. They've got deep wards, but it's not helping them right now.
They're trying to jump Yang. Ori is here. Ori cops a lot of damage. Emo doesn't have chains available right now. They're trying to turn this, but Ollie also joins in, and now Kaka gets an arrow off, but a huge avalanche from PYW. It will not be enough to save Yang. They will force the rotation in from Eurus. And they are playing 5-man Dota, sub 10 minutes. I love it.
Oh yeah, this should allow them to get a lot of substantial damage on tier 1 as well. Like, these tiers don't naturally push fast, but they've got sustain for days. Necropose and Jog just naturally healing up all your heroes. You're not going to stop this push anytime soon.
Radiant's
PYW just going to hide in the tree line. Chill out. Wait for his moment to get out of there. But this does allow the other lanes to just be open to the side of VG Gaming, so you got to be worried a little bit about 5-manning too much early on. You're really going to suffer in terms of levels if you do keep it up. PYW and Yang finding KT, who stuck around on the Necrophos a little too long.
Stupendous.
Yeah, it's the first duel win for Yang, so that does help our LTA out just a bit. You still have IG in a very offensive position, but after losing your Necros, you might want to temper it just if you're not close enough to each other to really find a solid kill. And it's just Emo, he has remnants out anyway in case.
We rely not upon fortune.
Ollie. Hang around, let's get it. Just trying to control off the right inside jungle. PYW is only level 6. Tiny, I believe he took the tomb for himself. Getting to that point now where it's going to really be just bursting someone down instantly with that avalanche toss. CT is up the top lane. Ollie going to show up there with JP. They do Reaper's Scythe, and I believe we've yet to see a usage of that Reaper's yet. He just hasn't had the opportunity. You'd love to use it on Eurus, but Eurus seems to be the one trying to make the jump right now onto JT on the Necrophos, and well, maybe we're going to turn it around.
This is an awkward spot to jump into. I don't think they're completely aware of Ollie in the background. So he could just pop in there. They might be expecting it to be an easy one pick up.
Vortex gonna be there with the primal string. He does ghost form up. Arca now gonna show himself. Arrow be there. Won't hit anyone. That'll be it. Perhaps just one. I guess they assumed the ghost form maybe wasn't gonna be available because JT was taking quite a while to actually go for that 1 point. And well, he did have it, so they definitely can't finish off that kill.
Yeah, just waste a little bit of time from VG. That does hurt them a little bit more, because only IG support's hanging behind JT, whereas you did have a couple of course dedicating that time up top, and that's just a little bit more farm that you're missing out on. Nonetheless, you are starting to see some item pickups come out here, especially for IG. Fly finishes up his Mask of Madness, and that does the damage there a bit, especially in the Omni, but it speeds up your farm as well. So that's something that IG can play around with if they want to give the Jugs time to farm up. He's going to do it a lot faster, although I believe he might be seen. But
Emo mid lane finds PW now, the Tiny and IG.
Radiant's middle tower.
Moonlight Shadow going to be there to set up on this tier 1 mid tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under
IG
attack.
so far looking pretty darn good.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Really applying that pressure. If they can find this tier 1, it'll mean quite a lot in terms of controlling the map. Of course, Vici Gaming, they're not going to allow this to go down for free. In fact, PYW goes for a straight avalanche toss into Kaka. It won't be enough. Now the Will-O-Wisp coming in, and there's Ori who's jumping straight onto Kaka. They do confirm the Mirana kill. Yang, he's falling very, very low, and Emo does finish the job off. Now the Omni is going to be the DY, and Ori, he's running out of mana, but no, he wants to go back in. He has plenty, he says. Disruption going to be there to make sure they set their Jug. Firefly, he had spin just in case. Anyway, IG now. A great team fight and a T1 tower for themselves.
Dire's top tower.
Yeah, it really starts to drag the game in their favor, gives them the map control that you were looking for earlier on. That entire fight didn't pick out Eurus, so they didn't have the presence of the Monkey King, and he's not even ready to fight anyway. He doesn't have a level in Wukongs just yet. He's farming up for his Echo Saber first. He's not quite equipped to face up against that aggression of IG, so IG does have a lot of openings with that. They do trade away their tier 1 top again, but they're still in position to try to fight again.
Eurus himself, meanwhile, there's going to be a duel onto the Shadow Demon.
Always know which one is real.
Be the second duel victory of the game. Eurus is actually the one to claim it, even though he was being chased down by Parker. Now the rest of the G, I definitely don't know if they want to fight this one. That each gang who do smoke up now, they're going to start running into their own jungle. They know it's currently being occupied by the side of IG.
Dire's top tower.
And
is under
JT might be the one who has to catch his gank. Yeah, he does go into vision. Looks to JT goes very early on. That's not going to PYW. And Ori does manage to pick up the kill on the storm.
And it's starting to come together for VG. They do understand they can't find these big team fights just yet. They lose out on Euro. He was kind of isolated while all of that happens, but they are finding some decent trades still overall. You're not going to enjoy losing your monkey, especially since he still has to finish that Echo Saber. You would like to find the Juggo. Like, Fly has been left lonely. Yeah, it's great to find JT. The Necrophos doesn't really care too much. Like, as long as in the middle of a team fight he gets the sight off, maybe a couple of death pulses off, he's doing his job. Doesn't require too much farm. It's really Fly that's building up a bit too much in the jug, and VG has not been able to punish that.
Not yet anyway. It's going to be a Moonlight Shadow. They do run into Yang. Bit hard to go for this Omni Slash now, but they're just going to wait. Though Yang, I believe, started to come out with the outpost. Then Omni will come out. Yang, he's going to melt very, very quickly.
Die in our hand is an honor.
Can't forget that outpost does give true sight, so that's how he stalls on, but IG still managed to find the kill.
Yeah, it's a nice clean pickup for IG. Really good use of that time. And you are getting some decent use out of the Omni Slash. It has been off cooldown times longer than you'd want, but overall, Fly is still having that great farm, and the network advantage is still on IG's side. You do see number 1 right now is Emo, does have that early Maelstrom and Blade Mail to really pump up his magic damage, and the time he gets a BKB, your options to control the Ember Spirit shoot down dramatically. You're gonna have to commit to duel from Yang if you want to really catch him through the BKB. Even then, that's probably not worthwhile, because you have to constantly worry about Ollie as well. So VG has to figure out how they want to take these fights, and if they're still going to stall, they're doing a pretty good job of staying near even, but you do feel momentum riding on IG's side.
DY pops the Will-O-Wisp, but he is definitely going to die. Or he is going to jump in. He goes straight onto Parker. Now PYW is there with the Avalanche toss, but it's not enough to burst down PT. And now they look to punish on the side of IG. Or maybe they don't, because Yang, he came in there with the jewel. There's a Deso available on the jump, though. He's going to die. Fly. So much damage being dealt, and Eurus just can't do anything on this Monkey King. Avalanche to try and stop them from chasing. They do walk into the Wukong's command. Eurus is kind of baiting them in, but now he is kind of out of that Wukong's. And it looks like a great chain's going to come out from Emo, and they are going to find everything off the side of Vici Gaming. The only man to walk out of there was Ori.
Oh boy. Yeah, not a great fight for VG. It looked good at the start. They did find one kill, but for 2 years like that, not worthwhile. They gave a dual win away to Fly as well, and you are seeing the issues in VG's draft there. They want to play fast, but they're not quite able to. The farm under Monkey's just way too far behind. Like, Eurus is only worth 6.3k. It's a far cry from Fly's 8.6 net worth. So you're not quite as itemized as the Monkey. You do have some decent farm on Ori, but he can only really burst select heroes. And Yang isn't doing enough damage on the LC. Like, he catches the duel out. Outside of the duel, he really has no presence. They don't have anything to mitigate that magic damage from the Ember and from the Necrophos, and even the Mirana. So they don't have any defensive items up to sustain these fights, and IG's damage is still doing a lot of work here in this game.
It kind of goes back to the 5-manning of IG, right? Like, they haven't been split up very, very often at all. It's more like 4-manning, because Firefly has been freely farming on the Jug. But it really has panned out, and it goes back to Emo as well in that Ember Spirit. We saw Emo not playing as much mid as late. He's been kind of juggling the safe lane and mid, and even the off lane a little bit. But I'd love to see this man in the mid lane where he can really perform, though. He does miss the chains on D9. Now could be in trouble, as there is going to be a silence onto that Ember, but he'll be right. Now Yura's getting purged off. He's already taken so much damage, but a nice Foundless Strike. They're going to try and turn this, but they will find Emo on the Ember. Reaper Scythe, however, will come out and clean up Yura's, but they are going to lose more. Yang looking for a jewel. He gets JT, but Firefly's there now. And the disruption from Ollie does allow them to turn around. JT just constantly looking for the well, not JT, but rather the DLC, constantly looking for the right duel attempt. Just every time he gets there, Firefly shows up.
Never refuse.
They've got to get that duel off after taking care of the Shadow Demon, or after taking care of the support. You can't afford to get duels like that. You're giving damage away to heroes that shouldn't have any additional damage to go. And it's really hurting the cause of VG. That gives IG the Aegis now, and that goes on Emo. He just bought back, so he doesn't have to worry about that too much with the Aegis. Like, he has a leeway now. There's not going to be a major opening for VG if they find that Ember Spirit kill. And VG has to slow the pace of the game down just a bit. You're not ready on yours. Once the BKB's up, perhaps you can consider taking these fights a little bit better, but before then, really shaky. You might want to finish Yang's second build-up as well. He does finish Blade Mail, so that's just a little bit more, but the magic damage is still plenty.
Oh, JT getting called out. They are going to duel him up. He is a bit tanky, but will eventually die, and that's going to be a PYW again. You saw IG trying to really get to their Necrophos to try and help him out a little bit.
Radiant structures are
At least I guess JT does find a bit of a trick in PYW,
Radiant's
but
top tower is
not
under
prefer.
attack.
Nah, it's still pretty good for VG. Finding that kill, of course, like, PYW is basically farmed up as much as you'd expect the time to in this game. Like, he has a blink. You can't really hope for too much more when you are you don't have the most space here for VG. It is pretty tight, although in terms of actual net worth, it's only a 2k gap. So IG only maintains a pretty short lead. It's just that it's substantial when it comes to the cores. Right? Like, a lot of that is on Fly and it is on Emo. You're just not comparable right now on your own cores in VG, so you gotta slow that pace of the game, farm further out if you want your rotation with the LC plus 2 supports. That's it. You can't afford to toss yourself too far out here. They do have some okay wards on the side of VG. They've got one watching their deep end of the jungle, which is about to expire. You certainly have better offensive wards from IG, and that gives them confidence to start applying some pressure on the tier 2.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
With that death, so they do take it at a relatively good speed. Firefly just hitting very, very hard, and with the Dragon Skull there on JT just to help out a little bit. Firefly is getting very, very close to having that full BKB up. And, I mean, after that BKB, you start to get really, really worried for VG Gaming. Like, you've got the jewel, but you've seen Yang just dying every time he tries to even get a jewel on the Jug. And even when he doesn't jewel the Jug, if Firefly's around, he's dead every single time. I don't know. IG.
Yeah, it's getting real tricky. The BKBs for IG, I'd say it's actually not as important. I mean, because they have been controlled up by VG multiple times. It's just never enough. I think the key thing is as long as IG really just maintain their distancing even, the BKBs are kind of superfluous. It does give them a little bit more leeway though, but I don't think it's necessary, although they are trying to bait JT, but they are scanned out.
No, well, it's going to be a duel, but disruption is out from Ollie. Not sure what the bait's for. You haven't got anyone else to back you up. Ollie, regardless, Yang falling low, but now PYW comes in, just really getting him away, but here comes Emo. He does run forward with those chains. They are going to at least get PYW, and no mercy from JT. Send him straight to the graveyard, and bot lane Eurus ends up dying to Firefly. Just one-on-one. Omni Slash was of course committed, but this has happened multiple times this game with Eurus, John. He just continues to get caught out on the Monkey King.
It's not working out for VG. You really don't want Monkey King to be out fighting at this point. He's not ready, especially up against Fly. Fly's farm is just way too high. You saw Eurus pop the Wukong's command as well, so he's not going to have that when he respawns. That is going to be a small opening for IG to perhaps get a safe push out if they wanted to.
They're going to go in front of the fight. Emo going to run straight into the coddle. DY dies so quick. And yeah, with that, they may just force in that mid-tier 2. They may even just go for the top tier 2. But Firefly is making his way there. They've already got half Tower's HP gone. But there's no rush for this IG side. They're just looking so great. You know, at this point, Monkey King's not going to scale anywhere near as good as the Jug. And in fact, you look at Eurus's items, he's going for a BKB himself. It just doesn't seem like BKB is going to solve the problems, though.
No, it's not going to be enough. He's been saving up for that for a while, and it's not impressive. Like, BKB Echo Saber, that's it. The damage output is really minimal on our Monkey King. One of the bigger things for IG, and you saw it effect when they were doing that bait play up top, is JT's pipe. That just takes away so much of the presence of your Storm Spirit and your Tiny. Like, these are your main bursting heroes right now, because the Monkey King can't get that job done physically. Your LC isn't the most fleshed out. 38 damage is good, it's not impressive. And you are starting to see VG really drop off in terms of damage. It's a 7k advantage for IG. As you mentioned earlier, the BKB is also up and running on Firefly now after that kill. And you just won't have anything to deal with the Jug, especially from IG side.
It seems like a pretty good time as well for Firefly just to go straight to the Ags. He's already holding 1.8k. Yule's going to catch out P1W though, or are he going to jump in and try and help him? They know that Yule's is gone on that Mirana, so Kaka should die, but no, he's still sitting healthy. JT healed him up, and now a toss. Ori, he has the BKB up. He does find Kaka, but Firefly is on the chase. Eurus now, Wukong's command, that is not going to help through the Omni. He does misdodge a little bit, try and fight back. Disruption going to be there. Eurus maybe has a chance with that BKB, but no, it doesn't look like he does. They will go down, but now a duel is there on Firefly. But Firefly hits so hard. Still, the toss from PYW will be enough. Yeah, now he run away from all this. No, he cannot. The Reaper Scythe comes out from JT, and ultimately, it will be a 2-for-2 trade.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I think in the end, although it wasn't great for VG Gaming, you'd still sit there and go, well, we killed the Jug.
Yeah, they got a little bit more gold overall for VG, but you're still not going to be very happy with that trade. That was the first BKB charge of Eurus. That was his ult as well, Nando.
They've played it around way too long. Nobody is there to help him, apart from SD, but toss back on JT. He's still trying to divide this damage up, and now no, it's coming. They're going to try and turn the P1W. Looks to go down with that Purge and Emo. He has joined in as well. Eurus do not feel the way, or maybe he just will. As Ori has to get onto Kaka. They do go ahead for the Mirana. He is still alive. Kaka does eventually die to the standard remnant. And again, Vici Gaming lose one, find Kaka. It's just very weird trades between these two.
Yeah, it's not the most solid trade. I think IG is actually still going to be happy about that, because they managed to get JT out. He was the primary target.
The rune of haste.
They broke the beacons of Emo, but he doesn't concern at all. He goes back on story, but now the full comes down. It was a bit of a bait. Emo. Oh, that is not good. That is really, really not good. Great bait out from Vici Gaming, though.
Yeah, and that does mean he's going to take a little bit longer to respawn. It is extended because he bought back earlier, although he does have buyback available if he wanted, but it is going to be an extended respawn for him, and that could be fun. IG is going to kind of have to wait for the Ember. They need him to really reach the back line and give them control in these fights. Without that Ember Spirit, the 4v5 is just not pleasant. VG should use that time to try to find objectives though.
Gonna be on the LC, but already forward again. Now Will-O-Wisp, they want JT. They do have him in that vortex. Maybe they give him time, no disruption. But the static remnant will be enough. That is your main tank gone, and now it's constant. It is Firefly on the targeting point here. He can't be just trying to run away. Do they have the damage input? No. Anything all that looks around now. They move and fighting Eurus from the obviously bounces my W. Very unlucky for Fly. Ollie now being caught out in the shadow does end up dying. Eurus will just BKB and TP away.
That was really close going the way of IG. I believe Ori actually knocked the tree of Eurus, so that kind of ruined the retreat, and that forced the panic BKB use for the TP home, which would have saved him a charge. Overall, you're still going to be happy here if you're VG, right? You forced a buyback on JT, you managed to get in a massive opportunity there. IG should not have forced that. Emo was not around. Like they forced a fight out the Ember. It's not gonna work. He's a big part of forcing VG to focus on different heroes and split the fight. Without the Ember, it doesn't work out. But you do have Emo back up and
oh, I don't know about this already. It's too early. Alone right now, but it comes in. They're gonna try and help him out. They found Firefly. They really want this shot. Firefly does manage to get the BKB off though. Now with Wukong suspended, they may feel comfortable to go back in for that Roshan. DY can delay things with blinding light. IG. I don't know about this. They seem kind of hesitant. Yeah, they are going to back off. It is very, very risky.
And they've smoked up though. They want to circle around here.
You know, so many of those ultimates down right now. It's never a better time. Just kind of sneak a gank in. I have to take the long way around, however. Love to find Woke up from VP Gaming with the brains on each other. P1W now Will-O-Wisp is going to be catching all four of them. And Eurus, he jumps into the monkey. They want Karkar dead to get him, and now the Shadow Demon. He's also dead. Yang, however, gets briefed aside. Eurus is going to start going on to JT. PYW goes straight to Firefly, trying to open up a team fight, but they'll lose PYW. Buyback immediately from the Tiny.
Oh no, Eurus.
Come on. Eurus will be okay. They don't want to throw Chunk to go away by D.
And they'll have Wukong in 4. Should give them a fighting chance.
They pull back on the Tiny. They're going to need everything they can get for this. The Emo starts charging forward again on the Ember. Fly back down. Yang. Wukong's going to come out. Oh, he does kick his off in the end. You've got to be so careful about the positioning of Wukong's command. It's so important for this Roshan fight.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It just can't be wasted. Smoke up again from IG. Moonlight Shadow as well. Illuminate will only really scout out JT.
Radiant's top tower.
She have a sentry on downhill. Karkar tries to wall, but now Ori catches him out. Still disrupt. Will be there. They can't want him. No, PYW tosses Ori away. The miscommunication from Vici Gaming is going to cost them, and now IDC is screwed. Let's go for this Roshan. Let's look at a real chaotic mess. Eurus, he's going to throw the Wukong's command. They're going to fight for it. He gets dangerous. The Storm does find it. Now the team will really begin. As Yang just going to stand still, hoping nobody notices him. But they lose him. They lose TY. Eurus is going to try and match fire, but he hits way too hard. The Vortex safe, but now Ori giving up his own line. to ensure Eurus can get out of there, but Emo is pacing. They will look up behind him, but found an even better kill. They get Ori.
A spirit.
Oh, and got the Aegis still, but they just couldn't get out. And it really all went back to that unfortunate toss of the Vortex.
Yeah, they couldn't find that first pickoff before going into the pit, and that really cost them. It does give IG a lot of openings here. They could really just push in now. You were forced to buy back on Yang earlier on, so he's not going to have that tool available. And again, even PYW's Tiny is still waiting on his buyback. So a lot of opportunities for IG. They can push quite fast. The port fight is still there, but there's only so much you can really stall this out for.
Yeah, I just tank with them. The repair kit certainly helping a little bit, but again, that Desolator fire is really helping out the side of IG. Now Karka trying to find a Yule target so he could get an arrow off.
Radiant's middle barracks.
Weren't needed anyway, they're going to claim the rats. Little Wisp, however, to set up this team fight. Seems a bit wasteful, just no position from Vici team to really make the jump. IG not back out.
I think they just really wanted to stall it out. That does give them some time along with the repair kit that saves their range racks at least, so it's not the complete lane going away. It's still going to be much harder to shove out, but VG does have a bit of a moment to regroup. With the Roche denial as well, that means IG is going to have to look for the high ground as their only objective, and they might not be comfy just yet. It looks like they will just wait for Fly to finish up the Abyssal. So he's just about there in terms of gold, and that does allow the Jug to really get that strong punch that he's looking for in fights, and he already has a great time. Like, you saw how Ori died after the Aegis. He respawned in and he was just instantly stunned with a really good dash. So it's been highly effective for Fly. Now would start to consider maybe something like the
Oh, that was
Ags.
an arrow, by the way, John. That was not
Oh,
a
okay.
Yeah, the arrow was there. Calm. But I do agree the battery is very nice now with the Abyssal. So Emo also has the Aghanim Scepter. They'll bring that out. And even a Blink Dagger on Ollie.
Yeah, he's been pivotal on the Shadow Demon, just disrupting this entire fight from VG. They've never managed to find the burst they want. They can't find the dual wins that they want, and Ori is in a tricky spot.
Oh, close arrow will allow him to zip away. Felt the wind when you're faced with that arrow. Karka now gonna throw the Moonlight Shadow out. Yeah, that's full crest available. So find the Eurus has to jump out of the tree and BKB. Find there with the Omni though. They find the right tree. They don't, and Fly is in trouble. He needs some help. He will lose his life. It's a massive way to start off this team fight if you're Vici Gaming. Lewis now catching two as well. Knocking JT back in. There's a dribble coming up. Yang. No time. Great time back. BYW. They give a chance for already getting it. Trying to get this Marana. He gets used up, however. They found two great targets. Even with those map items that came out, Firefly was making a very premature jump. Ended up costing them.
Yeah, he didn't manage to pop his BKB at any moment, and he was way too far ahead of his team. Really good punishment for VG. It probably won't translate to an objective just yet because Emo is still going.
He is. Gonna find Eurus. Eurus again. You just gotta question that positioning a little bit from this Monkey King. It's been very off this game.
Under attack.
Maybe Emo's just been on this game. By the way, John, just have a look at Firefly's item. He's just casually holding two now. Spotlight. Disruption. Yeah, we'll get called out.
Can't do that.
Can't
You
go
just
for a
can't.
tool like that, no.
No, even by yourself you can't. They don't have vision, they don't know where the Shadow Demon is. I mean, they should have known that from draft, but Yang's in a spot where he feels like he needs to keep going for it. And does have 100 damage, that is substantial. It's really not enough to turn the fights. He needs his BKB if he wants to be a factor outside of the duel. And even then, like you have to catch the back, you have to catch the supports, either Kaka or Ollie. More than likely, the best target really is just Ollie, because the Shadow Demon with the disruption has been one of the key issues in these team fights. It's really been Ollie and Emo that gives control, and every time you duel Emo, well, Ollie's just gonna save him anyway. So you need that up and running in your LC, and it is going to be built up. It's just a super slow progress. You do see some level tier 4 items coming out now, and a really good one coming out in Fly. The leveler going his way does make these pushes a lot faster. Really good in the Jug, of course, and the attack speed is always nice in that Omni Slash. So he's gonna have a lot more slashes coming out, and you have to be on point with the disarm from Yang. Like that is also key for VG.
Yeah, it certainly is. The Spell Prism dropping now for Emo. Well, nice. He'll take it for himself. Something like 20%
Tower is
cooldown.
under attack.
IG time to slowly set up for another push attempt. Perhaps they'll think about waiting for the next shot, which we'll find out when it's going to be in about a minute and a half. But they may feel like they need that before they really feel comfortable trying to make the next push on the high ground. But Vici Gaming, they won't wait so long. They'll smoke up, they'll start rushing towards the dark jungle. The Moonlight Shadow is also going to be there with a smoke from IG, so both teams have the exact same idea. Except Vici Gaming do have high ground for now. Firefly looping around. Now they're taking the high ground. Uranus smoke is broken. What they jumped on? It's the mid lane illusion of the Shadow Demon. Now backlines. Firefly. Oh, the Omni bounces to the jungle. Oh, that is so unfortunate. That'll mean that you just will survive through this. Now, yeah, he goes for the duel attempt, or he jumps onto Ollie, but Chen already, and already he is dropping so darn quick. And Emo just remnanting so far away, but he has found the team from behind. Oh, and even with the Omni Slash being misplayed via the neutral camp, it just doesn't matter.
Eurus expended his Wukongs as well in the pretty bad spot. Yang went for a duel on the Jug. Really, not the target. Fly just melts you. I'm not sure what they expected there. And VG taps out. IG managing to find the first win in the series. Gives them a slight advantage. They played really well. VG, their execution was severely lacking. Like, they could not hit the timings they wanted. They were playing musical chairs as well. Like, they had the Storm Spirit top, the Monkey King mid, and it was working out early on, but they weren't finding farm fast enough. They were under too much pressure with these heroes, and I just